Hours before the Trump-Xi meeting, Iran warned NATO during Norway's deputy foreign minister to Tehran that Western bad faith is blocking peace. Abbas Araghchi attacks Trump's lack of good faith in front of a US NATO ally. Would this drive a wedge inside the Western camp as NATO ties fray? Tehran dropped a new Hormuz shocker just ahead of Trump's China visit, hinting that the rules of the game for the world's key oil choke point are about to change. Mujtaba's aide teased a new legal order for Hormuz shipping. Is Iran preparing to rewrite who can sail, under what conditions, and at what cost? Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi held talks with Norway's Deputy Foreign Minister Andreas Motzfeldt-Kravik in Tehran. During the meeting, Araghchi said that the United States' lack of good faith is the biggest hurdle in the ongoing peace talks. The discussions took place as Kravik traveled to Tehran on May 12 to discuss the war and wider regional developments. Araghchi also said that Iran is deliberating on a new legal procedure for the Strait of Hormuz. Araghchi said, quote, "The lack of good faith and dishonesty of the United States is the most significant obstacle to a definitive end to the war. The main cause and origin of the current situation in the Strait of Hormuz is the US and Israeli regime's military aggression against Iran, and subsequently the repeated violation of the ceasefire through the continued blockade of Iran's maritime ports. The arrogant approach and threatening rhetoric of the American side, along with the United States' lack of good faith and dishonesty, are the most important obstacles to a definitive end to the war and reaching a possible agreement. Iran, as a coastal state of the Strait of Hormuz, is consulting and deliberating to formulate regulations regarding arrangements related to the Strait of Hormuz in accordance with international law." Unquote. This came as Iran ruled out a second round of peace talks unless its trust-building conditions are met. Tehran has listed 5 conditions that it is calling the minimum guarantees needed to revive negotiations with Washington. Fast News Agency reported the conditions on May 12, citing what it described as an informed source. Fast News Agency citing a source said, and I quote, "Iran's conditions include ending the war on all fronts, especially Lebanon, lifting sanctions, releasing frozen Iranian assets, compensating for war damage and recognizing Iran's sovereignty rights over the Strait of Hormuz." Iran also informed Pakistani mediators that the continuation of the US naval blockade in the Arabian Sea and Gulf of Oman after the ceasefire has further reinforced Tehran's distrust toward negotiations with the United States. Unquote. Iran appears to believe that renewed talks cannot move forward unless those conditions are implemented in practical terms. Fars also framed the issue as a US effort to secure at the negotiating table what it failed to achieve during the war. At the same time, Iran's government spokesperson said Tehran is choosing diplomacy while still keeping its finger on the trigger.
Also, we are waiting with our finger on the trigger, God willing, for our negotiating atmosphere. Because our main outlook is toward lasting peace and, as stated by the martyred leader, we pursue diplomatic matters based on 3 principles: dignity, wisdom, and expediency. Therefore, the people should know that Iran's atmosphere is an atmosphere of firmness, construction, development, and trust.
As the fragile ceasefire drags on, Iran is openly asserting that it is ready to confront any new aggression head-on. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf declared that the IRGC is fully battle-ready if conflict with the United States reignites. Ghalibaf warned that any miscalculation by Iran's enemies would carry serious consequences on the battlefield. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said, and I quote, "Our armed forces are ready to deliver a well-deserved response to any aggression. Mistaken strategy and mistaken decisions will always lead to mistaken results. The whole world has already figured this out. We are prepared for all options. They will be surprised." Unquote. He also pointed to Iran's long-range missiles and drone arsenal, saying these capabilities were built through years of self-reliance. According to Ghalibaf, there is no alternative but to accept the rights of the Iranian people as laid out in Tehran's 14-point proposal. Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said, and I quote, "There is no alternative but to accept the rights of the Iranian people as laid out in the 14-point proposal. Any other approach will be completely inconclusive, nothing but one failure after another. The longer they drag their feet, the more American taxpayers will pay for it." Unquote. He cautioned that continued pressure on Iran will only produce repeated failures for its adversaries. All of this came as President Donald Trump warned that the ceasefire with Iran is now on life support. President Donald Trump met with his national security team as negotiations with Iran appeared to hit a deadlock. US officials say Trump is now weighing possible new actions against Iran in a bid to increase pressure. The White House had hoped Iran's latest response would show real movement toward a deal to end the conflict. Instead, Tehran reportedly rejected the US proposal, denouncing it as a demand for Iran's surrender. Trump brushed off Iran's reply, calling the offer from Tehran inappropriate and unacceptable. The US president again insisted that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon under any circumstances. Trump also warned that the current ceasefire with Iran is now on massive life support. According to US officials, Trump may order the resumption of military operations targeting Iranian infrastructure and strategic sites. Another option under discussion is restarting US naval operations through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran, for its part, has already tightened controls around Hormuz in response to earlier US pressure on its shipping. The Iran crisis is expected to dominate Trump's upcoming talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping later this week.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.